Hey everyone, this is Curtis Carmichael, just a kid from Ohio at Jackpot Marketing. We're in Atlanta, Georgia, the beautiful Swiss Yards Downtown Club. If you haven't been here, please check it out. I'm here with Dean Yarbrough from Yarbrough Financial Services. And I have one quick question. What do you do?
Hi, my name is Dean Yarbrough with Yarbrough Financial Services. My mission is to help my clients make sound financial decisions, avoid making mistakes, and also help them develop strategic plans so that they can achieve their life goals. Okay, my name is Dean Yarbrough with YFS Planning, Financial Planning and Advice. My co-host this morning is Curtis Carmichael. Curtis, why don't you introduce yourself?
I'm Curtis Carmichael, just a kid from Ohio that's Jackpot Marketing. But this today is not about me. This is about our lovely guest, one of my favorites since I moved here in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm going to let her explain herself, but this is Tamirah Owens.
Hi, I'm Tamirah Owens of Bert+Smit. It is a business management company.
Excellent, excellent. Well, actually, she's modest because in my research here, she's the owner and co-founder of a number of businesses. One is Bert+Smit Asset Management. The other is co-partner, I guess, with We Society.
Yes.
Another business that we've interviewed in the past with owned by Kareem Mango.
Yes.
Plugs out to him. Also, Canis Major Digital.
Canis
Canis
Major.
Major.
Canis Major
Canis.
Digital. It's
Major.
a music distribution company.
Okay, good, good. And then basically your services are, if you sum it up in a nutshell.
My services are very wide.
Okay.
But for the business management part, it's just basically keeping intact all of your financial needs that you may have, making sure that contracts are straight, making sure that you're connecting with different business people for different opportunities as well, and just kind of overseeing the whole business aspect of what you have going on, and even helping you start up your business. Like usually that's what my friends have come to me in the past couple of months about starting their own business, and actually, they've actually been pretty successful, so I will definitely give myself a pat on the back.
Well, that's good, and we're going to touch on a lot of those. You've just raised a lot of good points that I want to come back up. Let's get started with a little question here. Today, in our community, we're experiencing a renaissance of sorts, if you will, the art of doing business. Right after the Civil War, our communities did a fantastic job going from nothing to something.
Right.
We built institutions, banks, financial services, hospitals, universities. We even built cities.
Yes.
When you think about cities, all the services we're talking about have to be available for a city to survive.
Mm-hmm.
Then we experienced Jim Crow.
Yes.
And most of the gains that we achieved were either demolished, crushed, or at least diminished.
Yeah.
But Today we're seeing a resurgence, if you will, of entrepreneurship like we haven't seen in America in years.
Yes.
And it's happening all throughout America, but in our communities it's extremely vibrant. Mm-hmm. So with that said, let's go back into why did you start your business?
To be honest, I was just really tired of corporate America. I think I just reached my pinnacle at corporate America, and I knew I'd already wanted to start my own business. I had actually started my own business while I was at this management firm, this this investment management firm. So once I decided to leave in January, I just said, okay, well, I'm going to do this full time and just really, really focus on that. But it was to honor, Bert+Smit is the nicknames of my grandmothers. Mm-hmm. And I felt like they always had their own businesses in some capacity. And I just wanted to take it to another level because theirs were more, community based. Like one of my grandmothers used to make dinners and sell them to all the people after church.
Right.
And then my other grandmother would go around and bake different cakes and sweet potato pies, which is probably the best sweet potato pie I've ever had in my life. So
Sunday place.
that was I saw them running their businesses, and the community around it was just amazing. I remember people just always coming to both set of grandparents' house, and people just building that community and laughing and joking. And I remember me and my cousins kind of running in and out of the house, not really paying attention, but I think the energy still like bled over into us. So that's why I want to build community. I want us to, as minorities, as Black people, to build how you were saying, like after the Civil War, right? Like how it just, we were sustainable within our own community, and right now we're not sustainable in our community.
Yeah. Well, that's the change that we're seeing, and hopefully interviews like this will encourage other people to see that from that perspective too.
Yes.
Because ultimately the biggest challenge I think we face in our community is a lack of jobs.
Yes.
And that's what businesses create.
Right.
That's what businesses create. Let me ask you this: how, in starting, it sounds to me that there was a theme of entrepreneurship in your family. And
Yes.
You picked up on that, and
Yes.
you're building on top of that.
Yes.
How? What are the challenges that you're seeing between what you saw then and how you're actually putting into place your business today?
Back then, I think it was the difference then and now. Like then, it was definitely word of mouth. Like everybody knew to come to my grandmother's house after church because they had maybe made like a little sign on the church door or something, and somebody came and saw that. But I think the big change between, I guess, the two eras is probably technology and you being able to reach way more people. Because even my dad's father, my grandfather, he was a carpenter and he built houses for different people. And that was all word of mouth. My grandfather never had a job in his entire life.
Yeah, he had a career.
He literally built houses his entire life. He refused to work for anybody else. And I have literally, my dad always tells me, like, you're so much like your grandfather, and I try to say I'm not like my grandfather. But
that's something, yeah.
I think this last like 9 months has definitely helped me see that I'm probably more like him than I thought.
Well, no, that's good. That's good. Where they say the fruit don't fall too far from the
Right.
Not at all.
Right.
Not at all.
But you mentioned technology, and Curtis here is he's my technology guru when it comes to social media and branding. Curtis, let me let you ask a couple questions.
Definitely. So, like I said at the beginning of this, T.O., I called you Tamirah, but I know you by T.O.
Yes.
One of the questions, we know your businesses, like you stated before, Canis Major, Bert+Smit, We Society, there's countless others. And from the initial time that I met you when you was working in the music industry, working with Sahai the Prince, working with different artists.
Yes.
How did you get, like, how did that go from, like, you being just the one woman show for all these artists to saying, you know what, let's just solidify this and just turn this into a business?
I think when so before I went to work with Sahai, I actually was at a business management firm. I didn't necessarily enjoy the people I was working with, but I loved the process and the dynamic of the actual business and how we helped so many people, and we were helping a lot of Atlanta artists. So I think that was why I was like, okay, I really want to do this. And I knew I always wanted to eventually, because I went to school for accounting, I was like, I know I'm not going to be in accounting forever. And so I knew I was going to go back and have some type of, even if it was just like an accounting firm and we're just doing like financial statements and stuff like that. But I was like, I felt like that boxed me in. With business management, there's a wide array of different things that I can accomplish. So for me, that's why I was like, instead of me having an accounting firm, I'm going to do the business management firm. So I can not only help artists, but I can also help my friends that own coffee shops or merchandising companies. And you see so many different aspects and things that can actually cross over. And I think when you're in accounting, sometimes you just get stuck on the numbers and the process of how things should be, not realizing that when you're dealing with these different businesses, that sometimes you can do like crossover things, like there's no limit. So that's why I try to connect people as much as possible, because like I said, I enjoy building a community basically. Like because I work with Kareem at We Society and I have a friend that owns a coffee shop, like I automatically are like, I know you need like t-shirts made up, hats embroidered and stuff.
Right.
Hit up Kareem, let's see how we can do that. And then they build their own relationship and not necessarily can step out of the middleman process, but come back in as like, okay, what makes sense? Kareem, what can you offer her as far as pricing, and what do you have in your budget that you can pay Kareem? So that's where I come back in the fold and kind of like help out and be not so much as I don't want to say a spokesperson, but just help them like realize, right? Like, yeah, we're like a consultant, realize like we can all work in the same.
You're helping with the collaboration.
Yeah, like that is what I want to do.
That's interesting. Kareem mentioned when we talked with him collaboration, and
Yeah.
he talked about how important that was. Not only just from the sake of, as you described
Right.
it, bringing people together,
Right.
but he actually kind of grew into the fact that he recognized it was a strategic part of his business plan.
Absolutely.
Can you elaborate on how you're using collaboration as a concept?
So because I am working with different companies, I always go back to how we can help each other in some form, fashion. I think like Kareem's just speak, I don't remember exactly what Kareem said, but collaboration creates opportunities for you guys to, like if me and Kurt do something, now we've teamed up with you, now it's grown into 3 people instead of 1 person, and then it's just going to continue to grow and create bigger opportunities where we can get bigger sponsorship deals, bigger endorsement deals.
That's so powerful.
Right, people just wanting to invest in us because they see that we're a solid team. We may have our own issues internally and trying to fix it, but if we stand as a unit and people are like, oh, okay, I really want to see what they have going on, and they offer so many different things, like I know this is a one-stop shop for me.
Right.
And that's what I want to be for people, even if it's like me not having all the services, I'm still a one-stop shop because I have in my clients that I have and people that I have business partnerships with, like I make sure that we're all on the same page when we're trying to integrate with each other.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, another question I have is, like I said, I've known you for a while now, and
I think it's been a long time.
it's been it actually has been a long time. But so I know she hasn't got tired of me. That's crazy. She probably has, but we're not gonna talk about that.
Yeah, we're not talking about that.
So, but like I said, me working with you with Sahai, me working with you with different artists and different organizations. What was like, and then like I said, We Society, Canis Major. What was the actual first business that you started? Like after you said all right, I need to actually turn this into TO's thing. What was the first business that you started?
So actually, I have a company called West 36.
Ooh, that's your passion.
Oh, I need to add that to the list here.
I was hoping she was gonna say that. That's the passion right there.
West 36 is I want it to be a sneaker store, and I'm still kind of in the middle of toggling between that, because I feel like once you put business behind some things that you're passionate about, sometimes it becomes more business oriented versus me being a consumer, and I think I would rather stay a consumer in the sneaker world. But I started
talk about that a little bit. The sneakerhead concept.
The sneakerhead concept started when I was probably about 5 or 6, and my mom bought me these red Cortez sneakers because she had bought me this all red denim outfit, which is absolutely terrible. I would never bring that home out. But I named it West 36 because that's where I grew up in Florida, 1197 West 36th Street.
Cool.
And I always knew I wanted to do something with sneakers, and I'm still toggling between, do I really want to open a sneaker store? But I'm passionate about that. I actually have, I just did a whole photo shoot about telling my story behind sneakers. I can absolutely tell you each story behind each pair of sneakers that I have, and I probably have.
She got some.
I have a lot of
How many
sneakers.
sneakers do you have?
I really don't know.
Just lost
Just,
it.
just check her Instagram and you'll see, like, I'm like, man, this is,
Yeah, so it's a lot. And that's why I said I don't want to, I think I really want to remain a consumer of the sneaker world and have somebody else kind of run the business. Just kind of give them my ideas and I kind of give them my brainchild to kind of run, and maybe I'll be like, I don't know, the CEO, and I'll let somebody else handle all
Nothing
the
wrong
other
with
stuff,
that. Nothing
so.
wrong with that.
Yeah.
You gotta have a vision.
Right.
And you gotta have passion. That's the thing I hear you saying. Now
Right.
you're looking at businesses that strike your passion, and you're trying to build something around that.
I think prior I was more concerned about stability, whereas right now I understand that my passion will lead to stability.
That's interesting.
So,
yeah. Okay.
Anything that I'm passionate about, I feel like that I will give my all, and somehow I will form some type of income out of this.
Right.
Just like I had no idea what I was going to do when I left this investment management company. I was completely like in the house crying for a couple of days because I'm just like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Why did I decide to leave so drastically? But I'm great.
Yeah. Get over that. You made a commitment to
Yes.
yourself.
well.
Yes.
Excellent. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's, I think a lot of entrepreneurs will want to be entrepreneurs.
Yes.
That's one of the biggest hurdles, the first hurdles.
Right.
I have a lot of folks who say, I want to start a business, but for whatever reason, could be they don't have the money,
Right.
could be they don't have the knowledge base,
Right.
They don't have a vision or a passion yet.
Right.
They have a hobby,
Right.
but it's not a passion. And so what happens is they run into the first challenge and that's it. And they don't overcome that. Let's talk about how you overcome the challenges that you've seen so far.
Well, first of all, I cry first, and I just get that out of the way because I feel like that's necessary.
Cry, sit in the car for a
Cry, sit in the car, scream.
Yeah.
But then I'm very disciplined as far as like time management and focusing what I need to do. Like I'm very resolution based versus like, I think when I was in corporate America, things just lingered. Like you could have a problem that's happening for 6 and 7 months, but somebody in that office knows how to fix this.
Right.
And I understand sometimes it takes a little bit longer, but it could be 6 or 7 months before they figure out what the problem is and how to fix it, where I'm like, okay, I have 7 different solutions. Sahai taught me about all these different options. You have to have 1,000 different options with them.
That makes sense, yeah.
So I just I hit the first one, like this should help me solve the problem. If it doesn't, I just move to the next one. And if I can't figure it out, that's when I bring in some people like that I'm really, really close with to kind of help me figure those things out. And a lot of people around me are just really, really smart. Like, I don't even think I'm the smartest one in my circle. I think there's way more people that are smarter than I am.
That's amazing.
And it's like, I'm blessed that I can call on them to help me solve some of these problems when I'm stuck. Because I may have the beginning of a resolution, but they have to kind of talk. Even just talking to me, I may be like, you said spaghetti, and spaghetti is going to help me solve this problem.
That's interesting.
I'm very grateful for that. Like even talking to you guys, it's things that I'll take away and I know that I'll use later on in life. So.
That's a good example of collaboration. It's a good example of finding people who are smarter than you in your own perception.
Yes.
To help you to solve the challenges that come up. That's a great skill that every entrepreneur needs to develop.
Right. I'm not afraid to say I don't know.
Yeah.
My mom hates that I say I don't know so much. She thinks I'm being nonchalant. I'm like, if I don't know something, I just don't know it.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to say that. And I think sometimes we're fearful of what's on the other side of the door. We try to plant our feet into the knowing all the time, where we almost have to put one foot in the knowing and one foot in the unknown to figure out what other problems I can solve. So,
speaking of solving problems, what you've got so many different businesses. Is there a theme, or is it based on the individual client you're working with? What is the problem that you're trying to solve? The service of what's behind the service that you're offering?
I want to say it's community. Like I think.
Okay.
And especially with minorities, because I think over the years, we've all just like distanced ourselves from each other, or we can't congratulate each other on accomplishments and things like that. And I want people to know, like, it's okay to say, I like what you're doing, even if you guys are in the same field. Like, you can collaborate and make something entirely bigger. It doesn't always have to be like a challenge, or I don't like what she's doing, or I don't know. Let's work together and make something. Even if, you know, like, and Kareem is really good about this, like people that have their other clothing lines as well, and other, you know, t-shirt brands and things like that, he will collaborate them versus like, oh, I'm not gonna support them. Like, we should support each other. Like, we can be a way bigger dynamic if we support each other and invest in each other. And it doesn't always have to be about money. It's time. It's even if you talk to somebody once a month, like, just to see what they have going on and see how you can help them. Like, that's what I'm big on. Like, how can I help you? And I don't want anything in return. I think a lot of times people want things in return, and I think that eliminates some opportunities for people.
I'd agree with you 100%.
Cause I see one of my favorite shirts that I have. He was the first one to say. Kareem was the first one to say, like, oh, that was a collaboration with Humble and Faithful.
Right.
Oh, that was a collaboration with Guys Dope. Or like, it was like, wow, like, he's very quick. Like, the whole team, you included, the whole team over there is very quick to say, like, this is who gave us this idea.
Right.
This is who we're collaborating with. This is what we want to do. So it's just like I said, once you, that whole group of people, like you said, it's, just, it's all about that.
You know, what excites me about this conversation is, my background's corporate America.
Yes.
And in corporate America, it's a totally different culture. Usually in corporate America, and I'm generalizing here, but, you know, large companies, very often, you get ahead by not sharing.
Absolutely.
You know, you hold on to that information because that makes you more powerful. Or gives you an advantage over the folks that you're working with, your peers. So I'm so excited that what you're really saying is, you know, your view of the world, your view of business, what you're bringing to this entrepreneurial sphere is built on collaboration. It's built on working with other people. And isn't that there's something they said about us? We don't do that in business.
They said don't.
So that's a fresh breath of new wind coming through.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely trying to change that dynamic because I just left corporate America, and I could see I think even times like people will go into meetings, like managers will go into meetings, and if you bring something new up in the meeting, they are completely flustered with you and like, why didn't you tell me this beforehand? And I think sometimes if you're sitting around a round table, I may have just came up with a thought then, like, let me share with the group, you know, like, but like you said, like, people hold on to things because they feel like they're going to be more powerful, where I feel like if you get the information out, you're making everybody around you just as powerful versus like, I'm the only one that's powerful.
That's interesting, And also, that's a dynamic of women. You know,
it is.
What's the fastest growing segment in America developing and creating businesses today?
Yes.
African American women.
Yes.
And I guess the lessons that you've learned, in corporate America, you're putting it into practice. I
Absolutely.
think that's key.
Absolutely.
Let's switch gears a little bit. You mentioned technology's been very important to you. It's a great equalizer. Can you talk a little bit about how has technology impacted how you're doing business? Running your business, I should say.
I think that usually if people are starting companies 10 years from now, it would be way harder for you to start because it's so much word of mouth, and you can't rely on people to be word of mouth for you versus on social media, your friends could quickly repost something that you have posted something about your company. Now other people are, messaging you like, hey, what's this? I have this, or I'm trying to start this. I think that has been like a very positive thing for me, and I think that's how I've been able to get to this point where I am in such a short amount of time, is because of like my friends reposting things on different social media networks, or me meeting people outside of different events that I may go to because of networking, which I saw on social media. It's just easier for you to broadcast yourself, especially if you're doing it in a positive light, not negative. Technology has helped. Like me being able to literally create an invoice on my phone has probably helped me in me being able to send my client something for them to sign a document from their phone, I think that's one of the greatest things ever.
That's interesting. Yeah. Are your clients basically millennials? Or?
Yes,
Okay.
all of them.
All of them?
I think, yeah, all of them are millennials.
Okay. Any opportunities to bridge the gap with the baby boomers?
Whew. I definitely try to bridge the gap between baby boomers, but I think sometimes they look at us as just like we're not stable enough, and they don't want to do business with us because sometimes I mean I know I'm all over the place. Like Kurt will tell you, he'll text me and I probably won't respond for a couple of days because I'm all over the place. But my all over the place helps me create more opportunities, and I don't think baby boomers necessarily like that. Like they like to be settled and stable. They want to come to the office every day. They're really big on routine. Like I have my own routine that I do for myself, but I know once I leave my house, like most of the time there's probably not a routine.
Right.
So.
Well, it's a different age, different goals in life, different places in life. But I know that's deep to my heart is how do we bridge that gap?
Right.
You know, the way I view the world is that the millennials have the talent, the energy, the enthusiasm. You're fearless.
Yes.
Everything you've talked about has been like, I have no fear.
Right.
There's nothing that I encounter that holds me back.
Right.
Whereas baby boomers, you know, they've been there, they've seen it, they've done it, they have a lot of wisdom.
Right.
Just how do you bring the two together?
I think too, I have really encouraged like my dad to open up his own business. My aunt, who's really good with kids and always been really good with kids, she's like a director of this entire like daycare center, and I'm like, why don't you just open your own? And I've been trying to help her, like just even push her. I may send her articles about different daycare centers and people opening. I'm like, you just have to take that leap of faith. But I was like, even if you're not there every day and you have somebody kind of like overseeing it, almost like a general manager in a sense, like just start, like just go. And so for me, the baby boomer gap will definitely be with my family first, because I feel like they work so closely with me and they can kind of see what I'm doing and how I'm moving, and they're more comfortable talking with me and knowing that my all overness is not it's not in spite of anything. It's just that's just the way we have to move. Like things, I may have a meeting here and then have to go see Kareem and then go back to somewhere else. Like it's not a just one place type of thing. And I wish and I hope that like baby boomers could see that us moving so fast, we're still thinking and we're still planning things out. Like that's when I say when like a part of my routine, like a part of my routine plans out my day. Like I know what I'm doing, but I know I may have to make 3 or 4 stops. Baby boomers don't understand.
Right.
It's like a very sporadic.
Yes.
Very sporadic, but very controlled, maintained understanding of what's going on.
Right. It's very much. I mean, it can get chaotic sometimes.
Of course, controlled chaos is good.
Controlled chaos is great.
So, but one thing I wanted to jump to as well is, like we've said a lot of things. You said like what you like to do, what's your passion. So, it's kind of in the same route. But what's your mission, like your overall mission? Yeah,
I think community is the top thing as far as me as like my mission is building and creating and helping us grow to be not so, how can I say this? Like, I think sometimes, especially when I was growing up, like I only thought that I was able to obtain the things that were foreseeable, where I know there's so many things that's hidden, and that's what I want to conquer, and I want us to collaborate together to conquer those things that are unknown. And the unknown, like, it's funny, I was talking to a pretty high record label executive, and he was telling me how he was talking to this guy, and he was trying to invest in real estate. And he was like, well, I don't have the record executive was like, I don't have the capital to do that. And this guy was like, what do you mean you don't have it? And he was like, oh, I could just call the bank and they'll do this for you. And they literally gave this man $250,000.
Boom.
And they didn't check his credit, they didn't do anything. So I think if you continue to build these relationships and grow, we will definitely see what that unknown is.
Can I ask you a question? Was the guy who gave the money a baby boomer?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was. He definitely was.
There's a place.
It
There's a
is.
place for baby boomers.
Yeah, because I was just like, he was like, he said he probably had maybe like 100,000 less than what he needed, and
Right.
he was telling the guy like, hey, I'm not gonna be able to do this deal. And he was like, oh, I'll just call the bank and they'll give you the line of credit. And I was just like,
Wow.
what do you, and he said they didn't check his credit, they didn't look at his account,
Yeah.
they didn't look at anything. So
They bought
those
him.
are the things that I want to tap into,
Right.
where my relationships and my personality and genuineness and how I do business I don't have to jump through all these hoops. And I think we have to jump through so many hoops is because people that don't look like us know what we are capable of.
Mhm.
And if we have access to those things,
It's over.
it's absolutely going to be out of
Yeah.
control.
What's your plan for funding your growth behind your businesses?
Well, I do manage artists, so that will probably be my first.
Right. Okay.
And usually when you sign an artist, you usually get a pretty substantial, not substantial, but a nice percentage of
Right.
monies that they may get. So that will probably be the funding for it.
Find the primary source.
Yeah, that would be the primary source. And maybe me just picking up some just like individual contracts
Right.
on the side.
What about your business management side? How are you growing that side of the business?
That is just basically like I usually charge a retainer fee.
Okay.
And because I don't have to have an office, like I have an office in my home, like I
Right.
don't need a lot. I have my computer, a printer, a place to meet.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think once I start to grow and want to venture off into tour accounting and things like that, I'm gonna definitely have to find funding as far as like paying employees, but as far as having a building and things like that. Because I have so many business partnerships with others, I probably could just
Continue.
continue, and